Psalm 23 is one of the most beloved and well-known psalms in the Bible. It is a psalm of comfort, trust, and divine provision. Often associated with peace, reassurance, and God's unshakable faithfulness, it resonates deeply with the human experience. As we reflect on these verses, I encourage you to think not just of the words, but also of the imagery they evoke: the still waters, the green pastures, the paths of righteousness. Let's walk through this psalm together, meditating on each line. The opening words of this psalm set the tone. The Lord is my shepherd. There is a deep sense of intimacy here. A shepherd is someone who knows their sheep, understands their needs, and leads them with care. To say that the Lord is our shepherd is to acknowledge that we are under his care, that we are his responsibility. It's a relationship of trust. The second part, I shall not want, speaks to contentment. It's not just about material needs, though those are certainly included, but about a deep, internal peace. When we know that the Lord is leading us, we recognize that he will provide all that we need, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual sustenance. Take a moment to consider this. Do you believe that you lack nothing in God's care? Is there any area in your life where you are still striving or feeling unsettled? Pause, and let the truth of this verse sink in. Verse 2, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Here, we see the Lord's care in action. A shepherd would take his sheep to green pastures for grazing, ensuring that they have enough to eat. But notice something important: he makes me lie down. In other words, God doesn't just give us what we need, he also provides rest. Sometimes, we struggle to rest, don't we? There's always something to do, always something on our minds. But God invites us to rest in his provision. He leads me beside still waters. Sheep are often skittish around rushing water, but still waters are calm and inviting. This speaks to a place of peace, where we can drink deeply and be refreshed. Think about times in your life when you've been beside still waters, times when you felt peace, restoration, and a sense of being cared for. What would it look like for you to rest there again today? Verse 3, He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. The restoration of the soul is one of the greatest gifts of God's shepherding. We often feel depleted, weary, or disconnected. Yet, God promises to restore our souls, bring back our joy, our sense of purpose, our sense of vitality. This restoration isn't just about physical recovery, but about healing the deepest parts of us, those places that need his touch. He leads me in paths of righteousness. To be led in paths of righteousness means to walk in alignment with God's will, to live in a way that reflects his goodness and truth. These paths are not always easy, but they are always for our good. When we walk in them, we find that our lives are more whole, more aligned with our true purpose. Pause here for a moment. Are there areas of your soul that need restoration? Is there a path of righteousness God is leading you toward, but you're hesitant to follow? Reflect on how God might be inviting you to trust him for a renewal in your life. Verse 4, Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This is one of the most powerful and comforting verses in the psalm. The valley of the shadow of death, what an image of difficulty, danger, and fear. Yet, even in the darkest of times, the psalmist declares, I will fear no evil. How is this possible? Because of God's presence. You are with me. In the midst of hardship, we are not alone. The rod and staff were tools the shepherd used to guide and protect the sheep. The rod was a symbol of authority and defense, while the staff was used for guidance and comfort. In the same way, God's protection and guidance bring us peace, even in the most difficult situations. Think for a moment about your own valleys, those dark times in life when fear feels overwhelming. How has God been with you in those moments? Has there been a time when his presence brought you comfort, even in the midst of hardship? Verse 5, You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, you anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. This verse takes us from the image of a shepherd to that of a gracious host. In the presence of our enemies, God prepares a table for us, offering us nourishment, care, and hospitality even in the midst of opposition. The anointing of oil symbolizes blessing and honor, something reserved for those who are cherished. My cup overflows. This is a picture of abundance, of God's generosity, of the richness of life in his presence. Even when life is tough, there is still an overflowing of goodness and blessing when we are with God. Pause again and consider, what table has God prepared for you? What blessings have you received from him that have caused your cup to overflow? Verse 6, Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The final verse of this psalm is a declaration of confidence in God's eternal faithfulness. Goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. No matter where we go, no matter what we face, God's goodness and mercy will be with us. They are not just things we experience from time to time, they are a constant, following us through every moment of life. And then, the promise that we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This speaks to eternity, to the unbroken relationship we have with God. The imagery of dwelling in the house of the Lord suggests a place of safety, belonging, and everlasting communion with God. Take a deep breath as you reflect on this last promise. What does it mean to you that God's goodness and mercy follow you today and will continue to follow you for all of your days? How does this eternal perspective change how you live in the present? Conclusion. As we close, let us reflect on the whole of Psalm 23. It's a psalm of profound trust, offering both comfort and hope. The Lord, our shepherd, is constantly providing, leading, restoring, and protecting us. We are never alone, never without care, and never without hope. His goodness and mercy are unshakable. May this psalm be a reminder to you that, no matter where you are or what you face, God is with you, guiding, comforting, and leading you toward eternal peace. His love will never fail. You lack nothing in His care. Take a moment to rest in that truth,